Hello and welcome to Rebels in Review. I'm, of course, Thor Skywalker, and I'm going to be taking a quick look at the newest episode of Star Wars Rebels, Twin Suns. I'm actually very curious to hear what others have to say about this, so I'm going to keep this rather brief and not go too far into depth or anything, and just kind of leave it to the comments afterwards. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video sometime later in the week. We'll see. Of course, before I jump into it, I just want to warn you there will be spoilers for the episode, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out, come back and watch this and then leave a comment, hopefully. Now, right off the bat, I'll say I don't know if I loved or hated this episode. There were certainly parts of it that I thought were great and parts that were a huge disappointment. First of all, I'm happy that Ezra did not get involved with the fight at all, that he, just hopped on the dewback and rode north as Obi-Wan instructed him to do. I was disappointed that the fight itself lasted, I don't know, 3 seconds. It was, part of me can certainly understand that because in the timeline, 2 years from now, Obi-Wan will fight Vader on the Death Star, and that is definitely a very slow, old man fight, if you will. So it wouldn't make sense that, 2 years previous from that, Obi-Wan's having this epic, long fight with, Maul where they're flipping around and doing crazy maneuvers. So I can certainly understand that, but I don't know. I feel like Maul deserved a better ending than what he got there. I'll say I also wasn't overly thrilled with Ezra and Obi-Wan meeting each other. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just didn't really do anything. It didn't serve any kind of purpose. I would have preferred this whole episode just been Maul looking for Obi-Wan and eventually finds him and has a slightly longer fight than they did. I know they've been building up to Ezra looking for Obi-Wan, and it makes sense that he would eventually find him, but it just didn't. Obi-Wan kind of gave him a roundabout excuse that you're only here because of Maul, and didn't really answer him as to why he wasn't helping the rebellion. So what I really want to know is what Ezra tells Kanan and the others when he comes back. Like, well, he tells them Maul is dead, but is he going to tell him he killed Maul? Is he going to tell him Obi-Wan killed Maul, but Obi-Wan isn't coming out of retirement, if you will? I certainly found it curious that Obi-Wan knew who he was, which I suppose maybe he's been in contact with Yoda. I've theorized it before that Obi-Wan and Yoda do have some form of communication with each other. Perhaps Obi-Wan, he speaks to Qui-Gon Jinn. That's one of the reasons he's on Tatooine. It's not just to look after Luke, it's to train to be a Force ghost. So maybe Qui-Gon has told him about Ezra. I found that very curious because he went out of his way to say, you're in the wrong place, Ezra Bridger. So we'd kind of like an answer on that, but probably never will get it. I was happy that Ezra didn't call him Obi-Wan at any point, just called him Master Kenobi, I believe. I was listening to see if they would screw that up, which I didn't think they would, because, of course, in Episode 4, Obi-Wan says that's a name he's not heard in a long time. I was happy with the voice actor they got to play Obi-Wan. I sounded just like Alec Guinness. I was happy with how they portrayed Obi-Wan. He was more like the Alec Guinness Obi-Wan than the Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan. Not that they're totally different, but he was more of the old Obi-Wan than the young Obi-Wan, which I was very happy with. There were certainly little aspects of this episode that I absolutely loved, such as, it was such a nice touch at the end that Obi-Wan rides and we see the old, Lars homestead. We even hear Aunt Beru calling for Luke, which I think was a voice clip taken right out of Episode 4. I loved when Rex says that, Bail Organa had confirmed that Obi-Wan had died, which just shows how far, Bail is going to keep the secret. And that, Rex even says there's nobody who would love to see Obi-Wan more than him, because obviously those two spent a lot of time together during the Clone Wars. I thought that was awesome. Another thing I found very interesting is that, Maul pretty much figured out why Obi-Wan was there. He was protecting someone or something and put it together that he was protecting the Chosen One, which I found very interesting because Obi-Wan basically confirmed that Luke is the Chosen One and not Anakin. And I know there's been a debate on who is the Chosen. Was Anakin the Chosen One? Was Luke the Chosen One? Well, apparently Obi-Wan either thinks Luke is the Chosen One or just told Maul that just to ease his passing, which is another kind of cool scene. I thought that, Obi-Wan was very compassionate towards Maul. He kind of felt sorry for him, and that was pretty cool. Obviously Maul killed Satine, and there's probably a lot of bad blood between those two, but I did like the way that it kind of ended like that. I just didn't like that their fight was, a blink and you can miss it kind of thing. Overall, I'll say, it kind of felt like a wasted opportunity to have one last cool encounter between Maul and Obi-Wan. Maul has been, he started out as this character we all thought was going to be amazing before we saw Episode 1. Then he dies, has two lines in the movie, and we're like, well, I guess that's that. comes back in Clone Wars, has a great story arc, comes back in Rebels, another great story arc, and then again his death just kind of leaves us, I guess. But again, I can understand why they did it. You don't want to have Obi-Wan and Maul in this epic long fight because Obi-Wan is an old man and he's going to be an old man in 2 years when he fights Vader. So that kind of kept the continuity. I do understand it. Still disappointed. Well, that's all I got for you this time. As I said earlier, I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on this episode. So please leave a comment below and let's talk some Star Wars and some Rebels and Maul in particular. And if you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to my channel or check out some of my other videos. If you're already a subscriber, then thank you for your continued support. And if you'd like to know when I upload new videos, either hit the notification button or follow me on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching.